What are the social consequences between the way males and females are raised? How does gender role influence young girls as they mature? Young girls are conditioned by the use of media image as the sexual characteristics that make us feminine and intelligent are not as interchangeable as what media promote as being successful and beautiful. Stereotyping begins with girls who are taught to be submissive, soft, empathetic, passive, non-confrontational, and sweet. In school, the hot girls are cheerleaders and dancers, while the ones with intelligence are nerds and geeks. Until recently, women were expected to manage the household and sacrifice their careers for children bearing. One successful woman, Yahoo's CEO Marissa Mayer, dared to do both. She faced criticism for taking on a troubled company and also trying to squeeze a kid out. This suggested the feminists were going wild while their hormones running over time. This blog post and public debate is just another example of the sexist display in the way media exploits and portrays successful women who obtain positions of leadership. These media attacks only diminish women. The bias will only change as women rise to the top of every government and every industry position. Failing to encourage women to aspire to leadership roles and defaming them publicly once they get there is insulting and equally demanding. Changing won't be easy. Young girls cannot be what they cannot see. Women leaders like Yahoo's Chief Executive Officer Marissa Mayer and Facebook Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg try to do it. All and are great examples of how accomplished women manage to succeed in rising to professional leadership positions. Media has lowered the bar with destructive television shows representing young girls in beauty pageants, where girls like Honey Boo Boo star in the reality television show on TLC, Toddlers and Tiaras. This offensive program shows her family exploiting their daughters competing in beauty pageants like a prostitute and condones her outrageous behavior. Pageant girls start as young as 3. These toddlers are shown that they are not beautiful enough as they are, and their value lie in their body. The weekly program exemplifies overzealous parents enhancing girls' natural beauty by wearing wigs, adding hair extensions, applying spray tans, inserting flippers, which are perfect teeth inserts, and designing expensive costumes. Their talents include strutting across stage in sexy outfits and using seductive gestures by blowing kisses to the audience and winking at the judges. The mothers are painted as catty as they delight in talking about the flaws of other girls, fighting in front of their children, and name-calling. Toddlers and Tiaras is a successful show, and media objectifies girls at an early age to pursue the ideal image of beauty and success. These mixed messages communicated on television and magazines are harmful. Most young girls at an early age are concerned about their image, resulting in eating disorders, mental abuse, and peer pressure, wanting to fit in and be popular. The unhealthy representation of young girls can create lower ambitions, lower GPAs, and teaches women that their value lies in their bodies, not in striving for leadership professions, stated Jennifer Siebel. Unhealthy stereotyping and misrepresentation of girls and women is exemplified in the media industry. Unfortunately, sex in the media sells products, movies, and magazines. Young girls and women are taught with media imagery they have control over men when they are sexy and seductive. This powerful image impacts our culture and damages women. Media advertisements and shows need to paint successful women in a positive light, as beautiful and their intellect will open doors to endless opportunities. Jennifer also said, media defines women, and we need to redefine what women can be. Women in their quest for perfection and substantive roles in leadership constantly seek to find their identity and receive greater scrutiny. Katie Couric, the first female anchor, was measured on her appearance rather than on the content of her news. Governor Sarah Palin was Senator John McCain's vice presidential nominee for the Republican Party in 2008. Governor Palin drew intense media examination by even Katie Couric. She was the brunt of many media jokes and mocked on Saturday Night Live by Tina Fey. I remember seeing an interview where she was not questioned about her political position, but whether she had received breast implants or not. As hard as this is to believe, women tend to be hardest on other women in leadership roles. They are discounted and projected in a negative light. To avoid this negative light, young girls and women have to support each other and fight balance by challenging society and encouraging women to succeed. Some women fear success based on their intellect because media portrays them as bitchy and aggressive, or hideous and unattractive. Men are seen in the same roles as successful and visionaries. The miniseries Mad Men shows the good life in the 1960s, and the historical drama with sexist men in careers and dutiful women in the home dependent on the men. This linkage in time shows that women did not ask their spouse questions, and for women to want anything more was selfish and unthinkable. As the show progresses, it introduces a time when women were not just objects of pleasure for men, but had ambitions and career goals. This was met with adverse results in the way women and men interacted. The men played childish pranks over women at work, called them honey, and sent them to run errands. Joan, who became a partner under unpleasant circumstances, and Peggy, who became a head copywriter with her own office, played two leading female roles. The show despites issues of the past, but those issues remind us they still exist today. This concern and adverse reactions between how women and men interact in society will not be met without challenges. The media's coverage of Nancy Pelosi's when she took political office over 20 years ago was asked, "How will you take care of your family?" Pelosi's immediate response, "My youngest is 18 and I have plenty of other support. Thank you." The fact that Nancy Pelosi was asked whether or not she would maintain a traditional feminine role is indicative of stereotyping in society. A female partner in an accounting firm was also asked if she needed to go part-time to take care of her family. She asked, "Did you ask other male partners starting families in the firm the same question?" Women breaking through this stereotyping must start at a very young age, and media must show young girls that the possibilities of success are endless. Female leaders should teach girls they have choices today that did not exist in the 1960s. Women have come a long way, but still can do better. I know many women who are successful in their careers and also very good mothers. Challenge the status quo and seek perfection in intellect through education and obtain those leadership professions. Build credibility by speaking up and supporting other women in leadership roles. My mom was recently promoted to sales position in the insurance industry profession. Men primarily dominate this role. Today I have asked her to be here to tell you what she has experienced. Okay.
The boys have come a long way in changing their tone, but two sets of rules still exist. Primarily, my client and prospect calls are questioned more while other men are gone for weeks at a time without a word. They are never challenged while I must show documentation on everything and work twice as hard. Unfortunately, the good old boy network does still exist. To break this stereotyping ideology needs to change and be taught early to both young girls and boys. I remember being the only woman in a room of men, and two of the other guys were behind me while the others around the room were laughing. I later found out they were looking down my blouse and making gestures to others in the room. This behavior is not only disrespectful, but a perfect example of how men see women as sexual objects. I am a single mother of two girls who are in college. Like other young women, they have aspirations of getting their education and of making a difference.
Thank you. Now that we have heard all the reasons why media could be a factor in stereotyping in young adults, I hope this is clear and opens many eyes. With education and media support, women build credibility and see themselves successful in moving into leadership positions. Take the chances that men do. Don't be afraid to succeed. And women will learn to support and teach each other that their value does not lie in their bodies, but in their minds. Media should honor successful women with intellect and in leadership positions by projecting them in a positive light. For more information on stereotyping, an impactful book to read is Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In, Women Work and the Will to Lead. She's an insightful spokesperson for the ambitions of women.